Hello, everybody. This is Alberto Kennedy, aka Grimoire. Today, I wanted to share with you my knowledge on the different types of, well, not different types of magic, but two types of magics. Now, the first type is the traditional path. Now, that's a bit tricky because there's more than one traditional path. There's many traditions in magic. I mean, many. There's Wicca, there's the Asatru, which is the Nordic, Germanic, and Icelandic magical path. There is the Druidic path, the Druids, and the Neo Druids. There is shamanism, Native American, as much as shamanism from different parts of the world. Like in Europe, there was a lot of shamanism going on there too. Um, there is voodoo, santeria. There is the Aztec magics, brujeria, the witchcraft, which is brujeria is basically witchcraft in Spanish. But brujeria is much more than what that implies. It's a mixture of shamanism, herbs, herbology. Many things go into a tradition on magic, not just incantation, not just sympathetic magics, but there's also a spiritual component to it. There's spiritual discipline. Um, and all traditions, magical traditions, there is a hierarchy, there is a tier, levels, ranks. That's something that I shy away from. I do not like ranks. I do not like titles. I do not like tiers or levels or the upper echelon. I don't get down like that because that ingratiates ego. That to me will make it that much more difficult to have your ego in check. And the first rule in magic, in any type of magical practice, any type of spiritual or mystic practice, is you first have to get a hold of your ego and check that, because the ego would be your downfall if you're going into any type of magical practice. Um, so that would be traditional magics, many different traditions. Research them, Google it. Do that. If you are thinking about getting into magic, know what you're getting into. If you're attracted to a particular path, research that path. Trust nobody's information but your own. Um, and that way you can make a decision based on what you have gleaned. Um, but that would be that's my what I can afford you in terms of information on traditional paths of magic. The second path of magic would be personal path, your own personal path. Now, that is tricky because that means it's not talking about any type of traditional path. You're not connecting with gods or deities or any external anthropomorphized entity. You're working with your own power. You're working with your psychic ability. You're working with your will to manifest results on the physical plane. You're working with your own energy, your own life force, and you're working with the life force of others. And because keep in mind, everything that you see, part of a shamanistic principle, by the way, is everything that you see, everything that was created when the universe was created, in some way, shape, or form is alive. And everything that was created by the universe has a spiritual equivalent. So keep that in mind. Using your personal power also entails working with the elements. Now, that's also tricky too, because when you think of elements, you think of what? Easy. Fire, water, earth, air. But spirit is also an element that many people overlook. Wicca doesn't. Wicca knows. Because in Wicca, that tradition, they know spirit is a very powerful element, just like all of them are. I like working with a broader concept of elements, which basically is uh, universal elements. Now, the universal elements, from how my spirits taught me, is time, space, distance, matter, sound, gravity, light, dark, death, life, and spirit. The universe itself is a major element. Also, it encompasses all of the other elements, but it's a separate element in of itself too. Keep in mind these elements have life force, they are alive. Keep in mind that these elements also have a spiritual equivalent and a spiritual presence in of themselves. Um, you can access these elements by anthropomorphized entity that symbolizes those elements, or you can contact the element itself, connect with it, because they are also doorways into other realms and other dimensions. Little tidbit also is fire is a doorway to the realms of fire. Water is a doorway to the realms of water. Air to the realms of air. Earth to the realms of earth. Different dimensions within these elements. I know it gets deep. But when you connect with that, these elements will teach you by impressions, by epiphanies, by just knowledge that you will have working with these elements that you didn't have before. That's working with personal power, your own power. Keep in mind, um, when you connect with any tradition, be it the traditional paths or your own path, again, I can't stress enough, check your ego. And also, if you establish connection with these energies or with these principles, um, it's kind of like a relationship. It's kind of like a friendship that you, once you start it, you have to put in work. You have to connect. You have to be diligent and consistent. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to drop a spell, so I'm going to work with this energy. I'm going to use this energy to this." No, no, you don't use anything. You work with. Um, so we want to stop that frame of thought when you begin any type of magical work that using. No, you don't use nothing. You work with. Um, and the benefits of that will help you as well because we're all here to grow spiritually. We're here to evolve spiritually and to become more than what we are and to get in touch with that inner light that we all have. And that light is so much bigger because everything in creation has that light. I just wanted to share this with you. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be more than happy to expound on what I just given you right now. But I gave you a lot. If you do the research, you'll realize that. Okay? Okay, well, I'm going to go, and I'll hopefully be back with another video. Thank you. Bye.